Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Empire Sports Talk. I am your host, Roman Gennaro. We're going to get started today like we usually do, and that's a rundown of what's happening in the world of sports. The NFL preseason is finishing up its third week, which is usually known as the dress rehearsal for the regular season, where the starters play most of the snaps, not most of the snaps, but more snaps than they do in any other game, and they get ready for the regular season because traditionally starters play no minutes or very little minutes in the fourth preseason game, and that's to avoid injuries and to just prepare mentally to start playing for real the following week. And speaking of that, avoiding injuries, sometimes you can't. Football is a game where you're going to get injured and you're going to get hurt, and the Atlanta Falcons are feeling that a little bit. Their rookie safety, Keanu Neal, will be out 3 to 4 weeks with a knee injury, and Julio Jones also didn't return to this week's game with a minor injury. He should be fine. But it's just the risk of playing football and the risk of the preseason. There's been a lot of arguments of if the preseason should be eliminated or shortened, and I am in the camp that believes it should, because there is spring training in baseball and there's summer league in basketball. But football is a game that is more physical and more violent, I guess you could say, than the other sports, which is why it has the shortest season, because it takes its toll on the body, and that's why we're seeing guys like Marshawn Lynch and Calvin Johnson retire somewhat prematurely because of the toll that the game has taken on their body. So I think adding 4 games that don't count to the beginning of a season is a little excessive. Maybe have play practices like a game, or have one preseason game or something to save the players. I mean, it's turning their season into a 20-game season, which is a bit excessive for the level of action that takes place and the level of aggression in football. The world of basketball has been somewhat quiet. Thank goodness for right now. That the NBA has not taken the headlines, but what we do see is August 24th has been named Kobe Bryant Day. For it has both of his numbers. First half of his career he wore the number 8. Second half of his career he wore the number 24. And I guess that has prompted the discussion of when the Lakers do decide to retire a number for Kobe Bryant, and I'm sure they will very soon. What number will that be? Because he wore 2 numbers. And I can see the merits of both arguments. On one hand, if you argue that it should be the number 8, that is because he was drafted. He wore the number 8. He won most of his titles wearing the number 8. A lot of people in this generation grew up knowing him as number 8. But also, then there's the argument of, it should be 24, because 24 was kind of a symbol for him as well. For one thing, that was the time when LeBron James was coming into the league, and it kind of lended itself to an easier argument for comparison between the two. 23 or 24, 23 or 24. There was actually a commercial campaign of people saying, I'm with 23, meaning LeBron James, or I'm with 24, meaning Kobe Bryant. And also the symbolic nature of it is that, and this is what I've heard a lot of people with the argument, is that him wearing 24 was him on a mission to prove that he could win without Shaq, and he won a couple of titles without Shaq, and so 24 kind of cements his legacy on his own. So you can make the argument for both. To me, I may be leaning a little bit more to the side of 8, because that's how I knew him as a child. In the magazines and on the television, he was number 8 for the Lakers. I don't know. He split the difference, retired the number 16, put his name at the top and the bottom. Who knows? Or retire the number 824, or retire both. I don't know. We'll have to see what the Lakers decide. Maybe they'll ask Kobe, and Kobe will tell them what number to retire. I think if it was up to Kobe, he'd say 24. So we'll just have to see We'll have to see what happens with that. I think it's a very interesting argument. I've heard a lot about it, and we'll see what goes on. Not much going on in the in Major League Baseball. It's the heat of the summer. It's the end of the summer. The playoff races are starting to come into shape. The Chicago Cubs are still as strong as they were from day one, and we're thinking this might be the magical year that curse finally ends. Maybe, maybe not. Last night, San Francisco Giants pitcher Matt Moore was 1 out away from a no-hitter against the Dodgers when Corey Seager hit a bloop single to break it up with 1 out to go. They eventually won the game on the first pitch to the next batter, but what was special, not only because it was a no-hitter or whatever. I mean, anytime we see a no-hitter, no matter who it is, and no matter what team it is, no matter what team it's against, you have to root for it. If you're a true baseball fan, you got to root for it because it doesn't happen that often. So I was rooting for Matt Moore, but also because it was against the Dodgers, and if you were lucky enough to watch the Los Angeles feed on Sportsnet Los Angeles, you were lucky enough to hear Vin Scully calling this would-be no-hitter. And anybody that's followed sports for any significant period of time knows the voice of Vin Scully. You may not know if you know it, but you do. This is his final year as a broadcaster, and it was a very special. It was listening to history. It was a very special moment to hear him call this, and even if he was calling it for an opposing pitcher, it was very special to listen to him and listen to history like that. And the game of baseball is certainly, and the industry of broadcasting is certainly going to miss Vin Scully, as he no longer calls baseball games. He was asked to call the All-Star game this year, but turned it down. And I know that would have been a big selling point for the All-Star game. But also, I think they should try to get him to voice the commentary for one more video game, just so fans of his can keep listening to him. I remember he was the voice of MLB 2005 back when it was 989 Sports, and I played that game all the time just to hear him. So it was very special to hear that. Anyway, we're going to get to our main topics today. We don't have any one main topic. We're going to cover a couple of things. And first, what I want to talk about is there may be a dangerous precedent being set. It's a couple of dangerous precedents, and I guess that's our theme. But in baseball, on September 22nd, the Fox is going to air a new series on their network called Pitch, and it is the story of a girl who becomes the first female to play in a major league game when she's signed by the San Diego Padres. The character's name is Jenny Baker, and she becomes the first female to make it to the major leagues. And this is not entirely fictional. While no female has made it to the major leagues yet, the first female was added to the international roster of players, or whatever you say, to potentially sign with a major league team in the winter. That is when that happened. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying man versus woman, blah, blah, blah. But we can't have, it's not good to, and I'm interested to see this show, but to have, and it's an interesting idea, but it's like, the MLB is for men, and I'm not just saying that to sound like a jerk, but nowhere in the history of professional sports has there been a co-ed league. For one of many reasons being, first of all, if you put a woman in the NFL, those guys are way bigger than she would be, or whatever. And I'm not trying to get into a gender argument or anything, but the NBA has the WNBA, and for the few women that want to play football, there are football leagues, not professional, but there are football leagues you can play, and there's softball. And nowhere in the history of professional athletics, professional mind you, there was that girl at the University of Colorado that was the place kicker, but that was college. Nowhere in professional sports has this happened, and I don't think it's a good idea for it to happen. It's okay to promote on a show, but in real life, we see Tim Tebow holding a tryout to try to start a major league career, and there are some people that believe in him. I believe in him, but there are others that think, oh, this is a publicity stunt. If anybody signs him, it's going to be, to fill seats, to sell tickets, and he may or may not even play. It's just to have him on the team. And we saw that when teams would sign him in the NFL just to have him there. The Jets and the Patriots and the Eagles. Well, I think that he had a better shot with the Eagles than anybody else. But if they're saying that kind of thing about Tim Tebow, what is that? What do you think would happen if the NBA, NFL, or MLB signed a female player, and she'd be the only female in the league? It goes without saying that the NFL, NBA, and MLB are for men. They're men's sports. They've always have been. And it sets a dangerous precedent to even conjure up a fictionalized story of a female pitcher in the MLB. And I may get in trouble for saying some of these things, or may be called names or whatever, but it needs to be said. It shouldn't happen. And I love women's sports, women's volleyball, the WNBA, and softball. It's coming back in the Olympics. I'm one that has said multiple times that I don't think softball should have been taken out of the Olympics, because softball players don't have a professional league really in this country. So the United States softball team is all they have. And if you're a girl that likes baseball, okay, cool. I mean, I support you, but to try the major league level, or to try the NFL or NBA, just for argument's sake, I personally don't agree. I think it would be a publicity stunt. It's like, oh, we signed the first female. Here she is in uniform. Here's this, but she's not. She wouldn't play, because if she's a hitter, who's to say she could catch up to a 100-mile-an-hour fastball, or realistically, her size. If she's hit by one of those pitches, if she's hit by a pitch thrown by Aroldis Chapman, is it really a realistic situation? I mean, we haven't heard anything from that shortstop that was added to the international roster since she was added to the international roster. I think it's a pipe dream at this point, and please don't hate me for saying those things, but there are just some things that need to be left alone. There are some things that need to be just not addressed, and it's setting a dangerous precedent. If this show comes out and this show succeeds, if that female shortstop gets signed to a team, where does it stop? And if there are enough girls that want to play baseball, start a female baseball league. But if this happens, where does it stop? Does every league become completely co-ed? Does professional sports end because there's feuds? Speaking of dangerous precedents, I'll get out of this topic. I could talk about this for the full 30 minutes. Speaking of dangerous precedents, Chargers rookie Joey Bosa has still not reported to camp and still not signed with the Chargers because he believes that he should be the highest paid rookie. He was the third pick in the draft this past year, and he turned down an offer that would have made him the second highest paid rookie, and he's still not in camp. Now, I'm not saying that Joey Bosa isn't good. He put up really good numbers at Ohio State. He made it, there was an argument for him being picked first overall. But I don't understand, and perhaps I never will. I mean, we see holdouts, but last year DeAndre Hopkins held out for most of the preseason. We thought it was going to be in the regular season too. Des Bryant held out for a long time. We've seen many players hold out for extended periods of time. Here's the difference. Joey Bosa is a rookie. Joey Bosa has literally proven nothing in this league. If there's anything that we know about the differences between college and the pros, it's that they are very different. Jamarcus Russell was supposed to be the next big thing. He never really did anything in the league. All these guys that come in, Johnny Manziel was perhaps one of the best college quarterbacks that we've ever seen. He's not on a team. Tim Tebow is going for the MLB. Just because you're good in college doesn't guarantee that you're going to be a star, or that you're going to be a star in the NFL. So until you play it down, until you prove that you are as good as you were in college at this level, who cares what you're owed? You play for $1. Joey Bosa needs to get his head on straight, for lack of a better term, and realize, hey, I haven't played it down. I haven't participated in a practice. I have not put on a Chargers uniform. So what gives me the right to think that I should be the highest paid rookie when all those other rookies are out on the field playing in preseason games, working their butt offs to make the team? First of all, you assume you're going to come in there and wow everybody. I think what needs to happen to you, Joey Bosa, is you need to sign for whatever they offer you. Say thanks for giving me this opportunity because I'm grateful, and go out there, and it wouldn't surprise me if your first play from scrimmage you get laid on your back. I'm a little worked up today if you can't tell that, but it's ridiculous to me. It makes sense for a productive Pro Bowl veteran like DeAndre Hopkins or Des Bryant to hold out for more money because they believe they are worth it. Because they have proven something in this league. They have proven that they are talented. They have proven that they can make a team better. They have proven this or that. Joey Bosa has done none of that. He proved that he can make Ohio State better. This is not Ohio State. This is not college football. This is the National Football League. And he has done nothing to warrant being paid the most of any rookie. And I think the Chargers need to tell him that. Say, you can either come play for us or somebody else can sign you. That's what I would do if I was an owner. And so I think it's on the topic of dangerous precedents. I think it's dangerous for him to give future rookies the idea of coming into the league thinking that they're the best before they even play one snap. And so it's very, very dangerous to do that. And speaking of guys not making the best decisions, it's been all over the news that Ryan Lochte fabricated a story that he was mugged in Rio, when in reality he vandalized a gas station bathroom. He has now lost all 4 of his sponsors, and he's in some deep trouble. The IOC has made some disturbing comments saying, "Oh, they're just kids. They'll do whatever. They're at the Olympics. They're partying." No. Ryan Lochte is 32 years old. I'm 23, and I know that's stupid. And so Ryan Lochte needs to grow up. Maybe it'll take till he's 40. I don't know. There's just a lot of guys that need to screw their heads on right. Soon. But I'm going to get off that topic too. I'm going to talk about something that will calm me down a little bit. I've mentioned it a few times. Tim Tebow is gonna take a shot at the MLB, and Some people think it's ridiculous. Some people are behind him, all those sorts of things. I don't know. It's scheduled for later this month in Los Angeles. He's got, multiple MLB teams coming to watch him. And we've seen video of him in the cage. He's got a nice swing. Gary Sheffield is a friend of Tim Tebow's. He's participated in the Tim Tebow Golf Classic a number of times, including this last year. Has actually been helping Tim with his swing and with his game. And he's actually said, Tim's got it. Tim's got his swing. Tim's got the skills and all this stuff. So it's not just I've never done this before, so I'm gonna try. It's not like he's gonna go, he's gonna go knit or something. He played baseball in high school. He was a good player. He had some interest coming out of high school, and he chose football. And it's hard. What we don't understand is, it's difficult to play sports all your life and then suddenly stop before you're ready and not want to scratch that competitive itch. Tim Tebow never really got a fair shake at it in the NFL, and he wants to try something else. He's not Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan tried to play baseball. He's not Michael Jordan, but he has the ability. He has the talent. He's done it before. He was a good player. And everybody wants to compare him to Michael Jordan playing baseball. Michael Jordan was a terrible baseball player when he finally pursued it at the AA level. And baseball is a sport where, if you make a team and you're not good enough, you get cut, you get sent down, you get traded. So this isn't, if a team wants to sign him for a publicity reason or even to legitimately play, and he doesn't cut it, he's not up to snuff, it won't last long. So why are we making such a big deal about, Tim Tebow's ridiculous for chasing baseball, Tim Tebow's ridiculous for doing it? It's like, no, if he makes a team, there's a reason for that. If he stays on a team, he earned it. Baseball, at any professional level, the spots on a team are very valuable. But for baseball, you can only have so many pitchers. You can only have so many of each position. So if Tim, makes a team and does not cut it, and does not, put up the numbers that he should if he gets a chance to play, then he won't be there for long. And I've gotten a chance to meet Tim Tebow, and he is genuine, and he is real, and he is the kindest person. And he doesn't deserve all the criticism he gets just for being him. He's every bit as of what he seems. He's not fake. He's a genuine guy with genuine talents. And this is a big dude. I stood next to him. He's an athlete, and that's what we were saying when he was at Florida. He's an athlete, and athletes like Bo Jackson, like Deion Sanders, attempt other sports. Jameis Winston played baseball at Florida State. And I'm not saying that Tim is up to the level of Bo or Deion or even Jameis, because all those guys had longevity in the NFL, or others. Bo would have if he hadn't gotten hurt. But if we characterize somebody as an athlete, it means they have more skills than translate to just one position or one thing. And Tim Tebow, I'll tell you this, he's a good golfer, because I met him at the golf classic. He can golf. He can play baseball, and I'm rooting for him. And we all should be rooting for him. We should never say, hey, somebody's gonna fail at this or that. He's a genuine guy who is really trying to make it as a baseball player. And if any of us try to succeed in anything, don't we want somebody to root for us? Wouldn't we shut out anybody that tries to tell us we can't do it or tries to tell us we're ridiculous for trying? And that's what most of the media is doing to Tim Tebow, and that's just not the way to do it. So I hope that we, as a society or a media or fans, can rally behind Tim Tebow and, tell him that we're rooting for him, whether he makes it or not. But we live in a society where people just love to hate on people. If you scroll through Facebook or Instagram and see Sports Center posts or Sports Nation posts or any post about anything anything big with a lot of followers or whatever, there's going to be a comment or something that is negative. It just is. And I'm not trying to be an advocate for ending the negativity, but because I've had my opinions before of not liking something. The first half of this show, I said some things I didn't like, but we need to root for people. But Joey Bosa needs to just sign and be grateful, and people just need to leave the MLB alone. I mean, I have no problem with Jessica Mendoza joining Sunday Night Baseball. Way to go. I have no problem with female coaches. Not at all. Because there's male coaches in the WNBA, so there should be female coaches in the NBA or whatever. One of the best coaches at any level we've seen is the late Pat Summitt, and women's or whatever. She beat Gino Ariema, who was a male coach at the women's level. So, and I'm, as far as the baseball thing's concerned, I don't think that should trickle onto the playing field in any sport. The show will be interesting to watch. I will definitely take a look at that, partially because I love television and I'll watch anything once. But I don't think it's a great idea to explore the possibility of females in baseball or baseball, And there are going to be people that disagree with me, as I expect, because of what I just said. But I don't mean I'm not being mean or negative. I'm just saying my opinion, because that's what I do here. And the MLB, the NFL, and the NBA are men's sports. We have women's sports. They are men's sports. And how would somebody feel if a man wanted to play for the WNBA? How would somebody feel if a man wanted to play on the women's soccer team? And that's not an issue about transgender or anything. But how would somebody feel if that, it goes both ways. If you open up the door to a female in a men's sport, you have to open up the door to a male in a female sport. And, male body types are larger. Male body types are heavier. They don't match up well on the same playing field at a professional level where it's your job to tackle or run or dunk a basketball. Even smaller guys in the NBA have a hard time, guarding larger guys, or smaller guys in the NFL have a hard time doing what they do. So I think we need to address some of the stuff in those leagues that exist now before we even consider going co-ed. That is all the time I have for today. This has been a crazy episode today. I've said a lot of things that people may not agree with, but that's what I'm here for, to say my opinions. And if you don't agree with me, please follow me on Twitter. Let me know. Empire Sports Guy is the handle, and the account is Empire Sports Talk, the title of this show. Like the page on Facebook. Leave me some comments. I would love to hear from you. I'm not going to shy away from any of the things that I've said, but I would love to hear what you think. So, like us on Facebook and Twitter, and check out these episodes on YouTube. We have video now, and Spreaker.com is where the audio will be. And this is Roma Gennaro signing off. Have a good week.